Hey, Lou Vuto here. Today I'll be talking to another good friend of mine, Larry Branson. And I got to tell you, if you love Roy Orbison, you're going to love Larry Branson. So stay tuned. Welcome to this episode of the Lou Vuto podcast show. My name is Larry Branson, and it's good to be here.
No,
my
wait a minute.
My name is Lou Vuto, and I'm so excited we have Larry Branson as a guest. And of course, Larry and I worked together for several years in Pigeon Forge, but he's traveled all over the world performing his tribute to Roy Orbison. And he was actually, Memories Theater started in May of 2000, I believe it was, maybe 2000. See, I forget. But we started our first Legends type of show, and Larry was part of the original cast. And I remember, not only does he sound exactly like Roy Orbison, but his look is phenomenal. We used to play or show pictures and videos of Roy Orbison on the screen, and they would flip back and forth between Roy and Larry, and I couldn't tell the difference sometimes. I had trouble, making the distinction. So it's so great to have you, Larry. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Lou. It's really great to see you, and I'm glad to see that you're sitting up.
Yeah, that's a good thing these days.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm doing okay. Of course, like everybody, this crazy stuff has tied all of us up. We're not able to move around or as freely at all, but at least we're keeping our distance right now. Anyway, that's good. Look at, yeah.
Right. So now, I think, if I remember right, because after the first maybe couple of months where we were doing the show, it turned into a referral thing where performers would recommend other people. But I believe I picked the original cast, and it was you, Kenny James as Buddy Holly, the Blues Brothers, Josh and Jared, Mark Hines as Kenny Rogers, and I think Patsy Cline, Christine as Patsy Cline.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
And I forget who was playing Elvis, but it was really.
I can't remember either.
But I think what happened was then after a while we had people like Lou Nelson come in, and he knew other people, and
wasn't Lou good? Gee,
my gosh,
yeah.
But now I think I contacted you initially.
Yep, you did. Yeah, and then later on I talked with Dee, of course, Dee Gallen. Yeah.
Right, the owner of Memories.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting because she asked me to put the show together, and I worked closely with Mark Hines because he had been in that business or, Legends for quite a few years. But, and it really wasn't difficult in a sense because everybody knew what they were doing. You told everybody, okay, you have 15 minutes and you go first, you go second. So it wasn't that like I was a big producer.
Yeah.
But Hank Miles, the band leader, he really put together all the music, and he was always such a backbone of anything we did.
The whole band was fantastic. Yeah, I was so surprised. When I'd come from up here and I'd been traveling around with different bands and that, and then when my manager had mentioned that you'd be interested in having me come down there, I had no clue about where's Pigeon Forge. I did. I just been in London, England, for Pete's sake, and then all of a sudden Pigeon Forge. What a good thing that was that I accepted and said yes to come down there. I made so many good friends, and what a great show, and what a pleasure to work with you guys. Wow.
Well, I feel the same. I can't speak for anybody else, but no, I think I can.
Are you a ventriloquist now?
Oh yeah. Well, that's a funny thing you should say that because years ago I did try my hand at ventriloquism and I didn't do very well because you could always see my lips moving. Now with the mask,
Well,
I'm thinking about retrying.
well, I think you were using the wrong part of your body for ventriloquism.
Yeah.
You said you tried your hand at it.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be the lips, I think.
Well, right.
Anyway, we had some great times, a lot of good laughs, and
Uh,
my God, yeah, we traveled and everything. Gee, it
yeah.
was. I never
Well,
wanted to go home.
right. Well, and then of course we always had uh, our time like after the show or hanging out. That was
Oh,
always fun as well.
sure was. Wow.
We'd go out to
Yeah.
eat or we'd go do karaoke or
Yeah. Yeah. That
of
was kind of different. Yeah. I
course that
remember
always
doing.
baffled me. We went out to do karaoke after we just got done with a show.
Yeah. So you're working with a great live band,
Yeah,
and then you,
right, right.
you and all of a sudden, yeah. But what was really exciting, of course, was that Dee Gallen, like you said, the owner of the theater, unfortunately has passed on us now, I guess, and and she was such a charm. Whenever we went there, she was so supportive. Picked up the tab, I think, pretty much every time. At the clubs that we went to after the show,
Right, right.
and just a lot of fun. Yeah,
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 that was always very kind of her.
good times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So now, just to kind of give folks a background, because I don't know, I mean, I know
yeah.
some of this stuff, but you were born and raised in, is it British Columbia?
That's correct. Yeah, just about 500 miles south of where I'm living right now in Vancouver.
Ah, okay. And you had to leave
Yeah.
that area?
In a hurry. Yeah.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
you owed money.
Yeah. I owed money. I hope they can't find me. At least you're not. I won't give you my address in case somebody's looking for me. But no, that's another big long story for maybe another time. How I ended up coming up to the beautiful Okanagan Valley, they call it, and it's called. Where am I? I don't even know where I am either. Okanagan, yeah. Anyway, um, Kelowna,
All right.
not Corona,
Ah,
uh,
right.
Kelowna.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of
That's
people
it.
made that mistake when this coronavirus came out, and because I live in Kelowna, they said, "Oh my God, have you got it there too?
Yeah, right.
You even named your town after the no,
Right.
no, we didn't do that.
Right.
It's
Now,
spelled
so what kind of what was your influence musically? Was it at an early age or is that something that came later?
yeah, well at a had wanted me to see if I could play the guitar a little bit because he had a guitar, an old dobro that I enjoyed, but I had more fun taking it apart.
Ah,
All the parts of a dobro. For those of you who know that it's got a resonator in the middle, and I took all the screws out of it one time, and my dad didn't like that much, but I did put it back together.
oh, okay. Well, that's
Yeah,
important.
yeah, just so I could learn another chord
Yeah.
and but back in those days in the late 50s, around the time that Buddy Holly passed away, it was very popular with the girls. If you had a guitar, even if you didn't know how to play it, you could be standing on the corner holding a guitar in your hand, and oh, you all the gals are coming over to you, oh gee, do you play the guitar? And I'd say, yep. Oh,
Right.
but anyway, yeah, it was a fun time, and my dad showed me a few chords on the guitar, and then I went from there. I was influenced mostly at that time by Marty Robbins, if you can believe it.
All right.
Before Roy Orbison, yeah, Marty I really liked his voice. I liked the songs that he sang, and I think "Devil Woman" was the first one I picked up on. And yeah, I made my first $5 with that song.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, a guy playing an accordion wanted me to come and sing it with him at one of the legions up here, and so I went with him, and he gave me $5 for singing "Devil Woman."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and he had an accordion, so that was a nice duo.
Yeah, yeah. A good mix of instruments.
Yeah.
So then how did the Roy Orbison thing come along?
Oh, I thought you'd get to that. Yeah.
Ah,
That's funny. Well, it was part of, I joined a band in 1968 and in Vancouver. I was working at an electrical factory, and one of my coworkers overheard me on one of my coffee breaks, and I was sitting out in the car strumming the guitar, um, and he said, "You know, my brother has a band, and maybe you'd like to come down and sing with them a little bit." So I said, "Sure, I'd like that," because I didn't have a band or anybody. I didn't know. So I went over there and I met the group, and they were all just kids, at that time, of course, 17, 18. And I was an old guy, about 21, I think, or
oh,
20, I think I was at the time. I was quite
right.
old. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were doing an instrumental of just that little lick in Pretty Woman that Roy has, doom 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 doom, and they were doing that, and so I started singing into one of the mics that they had handy, and they seemed to like it, so I started doing that, and they asked me if I'd like to join the group, and be with them for a while, and so I said sure, and they said, well, do you know how we can get some bookings?
Yeah.
Because they hadn't got a lot of bookings at that time. So we found an agent, and the agent came and heard us in their basement, and that was the beginning of working with them for about 4 years and touring across Canada with them.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't a group that you would know, but the drummer became very famous with a group called well, one of the drummers anyway that we had was with Trooper. And he's still with Trooper today.
Huh.
But otherwise, not to get too off the track from what you were asking, that's pretty much what got me interested or got started, singing with a band, just with Roy's music. But I did other music as well. I did a lot of Elvis and Buddy Holly, and like a lot of us had to do in the early years, to get going anywhere. Yeah.
Cover tunes and.
Oh, sure. Everything. Yeah.
Huh. Now, and then at some point, obviously you went for the look and the not only the hair and all that, but the clothes, and
Yeah.
And you were actually cast to do a play about Roy, about
That's
his
correct.
life.
Yes, exactly. I was down in Reno doing a Las Vegas show, the American Superstars. I'm a Canadian, so how did that happen? But they accepted me as Roy.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, because a lot of the people said, "Well, how can you do Roy Orbison? He was American, wasn't he?" And I said, well, "Yeah." And he said, "But you're a Canadian, so how come you can sing like him?" I said, "I don't know. I just like the pay. I just like the paycheck at the end of the."
Right. Oh.
But yeah, so that got me into the U.S. And then while I was there, my manager called me and said, "How would you like to go to England?" And I had no idea what he was talking about, and it was just the greatest thing that happened to me since Vuto and Memories Theater, because they came over from London. They were putting a show together about Roy Orbison's life, and they needed an actor slash singer, of course, guitar player that could play the guitar and so on. And so they came and heard me and spent a couple of days actually in Reno and seen the show a couple of times. And when it was all said and done, we had a contract, and I was on my way to London.
Wow.
With a great big script to have to memorize.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was not only singing, but it was
acting.
Speaking. Yeah, acting.
That's
and
right.
Had you any experience in acting before then, or
nothing?
No.
And that's what the write-ups actually said on our show when it first opened after we had spent 8 weeks rehearsals and stuff. And the write-ups in the paper were that Roy Orbison wasn't the best actor in the world, and what can we say about Larry Branson? Well, I thought, I didn't know how to take that. Let's see, how do you take that?
Right.
Thank you very much, sir.
Right.
But
well, it's better than my review when I first got to Memories, when they wrote, "We don't know where they got this yahoo," but anyway.
That's funny, Lou.
But you kind of grow into stuff, don't you? Because really, when I first got to Memories, I had done nothing professionally, and
wow.
I felt so over my head, and but I think you kind of grow into stuff if you've given an opportunity,
That's right. It does, yeah, and it. If you've never done it before, it's a big adventure, and that's the way I looked at what I was doing as, going over there. Who would have thought that I would have even accepted that role? Because most of those kind of things I backed away from.
Right.
In fact, I backed away from performing as Roy because I didn't think very much of myself at all, and I still don't. But yeah, but but Roy, I thought so much about Roy. I loved his music. I liked the range that he had and everything, and I never thought I could come even close to what he did. But I did get some vocal training while I was in England, and also when I was with American Superstars, I managed to hook up with a voice teacher down there, and she really helped me a lot in my breathing and stuff like that. Because I wasn't breathing at all.
Well, that was a problem.
Yeah, I wanted to change this around to an interview with you here, actually, because I was going to ask you some questions. And I'm sure that you've already gone over them with your other guests that you've had.
So you've actually met several of Roy's family over the years.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I met his. I spent a whole day with his son, Wesley Orbison, down in Hendersonville. Of course, we all know where that is, and in Tennessee, and had a great time talking with him and his brother Sam Orbison, his brother, Roy's brother, who traveled with me for almost 3 years in Canada, and he was on our payroll and stuff, and we shared the same room at different hotels. It was just an experience I'll never forget. Of course,
actually, let's talk about one of your prized possessions regarding Sam, something he gave you.
Yes, absolutely. He gave me a pair of Roy Orbison's glasses. That was at a show I did in Toronto, and by the manufacturer of Roy's glasses, Roy found a company up there, and I just can't recall the name offhand, but they presented it to me along with Sam, and said that these were Roy's original glasses that he had, but he wanted us to have them.
Ladies and gentlemen, the big O, Mr. Roy Orbison.
Well, I got a woman mean as she can be.
so they presented them to me, and it was a real thrill to get that. That was at the CNE, the Canadian National Exhibition, back in Toronto. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
what a
got to
nice
be a
treat.
prized possession.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I've got it under lock and key. I just can't find the key now.
Well, at least they're safe. You know, it's funny because not too well, when I first got to Memories, actually, before Dee owned the theater, her brother Michael owned it, and we were on a road show, and he had bought me a pair of Elvis sunglasses, and
Uh-huh.
I don't mean the plastic kind. They were
No.
chrome, and they were like $300 pair of glasses.
Yes.
They
Wow.
weren't Elvis's, but I mean they were
Yeah.
authentic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it was a theater in the Round in Louisville, and after the show, I had left the glasses on the drum riser to go sign,
Oh,
and when I
no.
came back, they were gone.
Oh,
And
no.
we did that show several years in a row, and I kept expecting to see the cook with Elvis glasses. Somebody
Oh,
working in the
oh,
restaurant there.
yeah. Oh,
But
my God.
I mean, they had to go on stage to get them, but of course, I felt badly because it wasn't me who
Ah,
bought them. But then I
yes.
made a joke that, you know, maybe I'd see a cook wearing them one day in the kitchen.
That-
But thankfully, they weren't anything that belonged to Elvis either. So,
Well, no, but it was a nice gift that
yeah.
that you had got as well, and like you say, they weren't inexpensive. They were a
No.
good pair of glasses.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
$300, that was,
Most of the little plastic ones that we see out there, that you know, but to have something as nice as that was,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah,
So,
but gee whiz, it is funny how that happens. There's so many things that I have in my mind, but to ask you, I feel like I said, I feel like I'm interviewing you sometimes
that
because
may be another show.
yeah. Oh, I know what it was. If you don't mind talking about this
Yeah.
for a second, if it was about your good buddy Charlie Hodge.
All right.
I had met Charlie up in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
All right.
He was at a convention center up there. It was to do with Elvis, and they brought him up as one of the representatives of the Elvis estate and that. And this was I didn't know he was working with you at the time, and maybe he wasn't at the time. I don't know. But I had a really nice conversation with him. Charlie came. We were all sitting at the same table. And he said, "Oh, it was a great show." He says, "You did a really good job of Roy." He said, "That was really nice, And he was very complimentary, and that. And he says, "If you ever want to get some vocal teaching," he says, "to learn how to sing." He says, "I'll give you my number and my card." And that he says, "I'm down in Tennessee down there," and I didn't know that was before I came to ever work with you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I thought, who is this guy? I didn't realize who he really, really was.
Right, right, right. Well, if
Yeah.
it makes you feel any better, he told me things like that all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he just actually in the middle of the show on stage, we'd be singing a duet, and then we'd end it, and he'd go, "You still ain't doing that right." Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you for your 2 bits worth.
Yeah.
Oh, poor
But
Charlie. Yeah, what a great guy, though. Yeah.
oh yeah, well, I mean, he was definitely
Yeah.
honest, and
Yeah.
I think you get to the age where you don't mince too many words, and
No.
you say what you want to say.
Yeah. I wonder what he would have charged me if I had have accepted his offer.
I don't know.
Might have been more than I could afford.
Yeah, right.
At that time.
Well,
Yeah.
I know when he went out on the road, so to speak, and got hired outside of the theater, he would charge $2,500.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. Now, excuse
Huh.
me, he didn't make that on a nightly basis because there's something to be said for steady work,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, when he went out, so I don't know if that's any indication. But
Well, oh well,
yeah,
it's I would have that would have been something nice to have put on my resume anyway. That Charlie Hodge, Elvis is a very close friend of Elvis, wasn't he? Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
sure. So now, barring the whole
Yeah.
thing with the COVID thing, are you still performing or?
Yeah. I was still doing, small shows here and there, and working with a local band here that I had I was with. They brought me into under their wing, so to speak. They knew what I did, and
Right.
one of them is the owner of a car dealership up here,
Oh,
and great guy, and so I got talking to him one day, and he said, "Oh, I got a band together." It sounded like my old days, and so that's pretty much what happened. I started up with them and did weekend gigs with them, and you make a couple $100 here and there, and just enough to keep your head above water.
and you're doing what you enjoy.
Yeah, and then of course all of this coming into the picture put an end to that, and
Yeah, yeah,
now we're all shut down.
right. And so, well, and of course, I still do things here and there, but as you can tell with my new hairstyle,
Oh,
I'm kind of winding down.
that's the way I want to go very soon. I'm ready to go anytime.
But so
Yeah.
what do you do like I drive for a rideshare company, just, and especially during this time,
Oh,
keeps me busy,
sure,
and,
sure.
but I mean, I think were you working with airplanes?
Yes, yeah. Well, it's now called Kelowna Aerospace. It's they changed the name now. It's a pretty big company here in Kelowna. It was called Kelowna uh, uh, Aerospace. First, the mind goes, Lou. So
Right.
when you get as old as me, no, you haven't got there yet. That's for
Oh,
good.
not far
Yeah.
behind.
No, well, you'll catch up. Anyway, that was another great time for me because you probably knew, I think, when I was down there, even I had an interest in aircraft and
Right.
in planes and so on, and I still have that. I don't know if you can see behind me. I have a whole bunch of airplanes and stuff
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
and other models and things, but mostly aircraft. I have a room upstairs that I won't even talk about right now. It needs to be fixed up with all this happening. I've let it go for a while, but it's got a flight simulator in there, and I can fly anywhere. I can come down and see you very quickly.
Oh,
You
nice.
know, yeah, I've done that a few times, but you're never there. Any
Right.
Yeah, but that's another one of my passions is flying and that. So when I got that job with I was there for 10 years, and then they finally decided to just to retire me, and they were making some shifting in the business itself, and so they after 10 years they let me go anyway, and it was all good though. It was on a really nice. They had a really nice party for me and stuff. And it was really nice. But now that's all over. So now in between, it's just pensioning and stuff and sitting on the corner crying. And no, I
Right.
don't do that.
You know, you know, there was a time in my life where I was actually working as a diesel fitter in a company,
Oh,
in a pantyhose factory.
oh no.
As the pantyhose came down the beltway, I'd pick them up and I'd go, diesel fitter.
Oh,
It's terrible. I'm sorry.
no. and now and now when you're in a recording studio, they put one of those in front of your face, don't they? You know,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
to sing through. Yeah. Oh
Uh,
my God. Oh, there are a lot of great jokes and stuff about this business as well, and we've been losing all kinds of good people though. A lot good performers in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, some of the guys, like you say, that you had with you, uh, you know, at the show and that, it was really great. You know, meeting up with a lot of them, you know, and Lou was another good one, and
Oh yeah.
to have two Lou's, and you know,
Yeah. Oh well, it's I feel like you. It was a privilege to work with everyone. Everyone was always so talented, and um, you know, everyone made
yeah, your job, yeah,
my job like I had a step up, so to speak. They helped me, you know, be more
sure,
professional in what I did,
yeah,
and of course you included. You were okay. So to me, there was Mark Hines had such a great look, and
oh,
you had a great look and you both had a great sound.
yeah,
Um, the original cast was such a good thing to start with because it just was so believable. You
yeah.
know, sometimes you could kind of get someone who doesn't look great or doesn't sound great, and you can kind of throw them in the middle of everything and it gets by. But everyone in that initial cast was just awesome.
And
So,
you know, and you got to have a sense of humor in this whole thing as well, because a lot of things sometimes will go funny on stage and that, you know, and
right.
I know I was going to say you probably weren't there the night that I did, but of course you were there every
Oh,
night. You
right.
know, I walked out on stage one time and my guitar cord, I used a cord for some reason I had a cord plugged in, but as I'm walking out, it only went halfway.
Oh,
So I'm walking out there like a
well,
Orbison.
I don't remember that, but I do
No.
remember one day or one night you walked out with your spectacles on instead of your sunglasses.
Oh,
And I
that's right.
think somewhere in the middle, you had them in your vest, of course.
Yeah,
And, oh, excuse
yeah.
me. You know?
Just a minute. Yeah, I'll be
Yeah.
right back. That was
Like,
funny too. Yeah.
like who's this? Who's this guy?
Yeah. Isn't that funny how you can have everything else going for you, all the clothes, and I'm glad at least I had my pants on,
Yeah.
you know. But you know, and you're so meticulous in everything, make sure your hair's all good, and then you walk out there with these other glasses on. You know, they weren't even. Who's this clown? Like you? Oh, gee, that
Oh.
was funny. Yeah, but
Well, Larry, I sure
you know,
appreciate you doing this, and it's really been an awesome talking to you again and reconnecting. And like I said, I know a lot of folks are going to love to watch this because there were, as you said, great memories over the years of you being part of the show. And um,
uh, I really miss it.
yeah, so thank you again, and I hope we get to see each other in person soon.
I would like to think so as well. It's difficult, of course, for both of us to travel between U.S. and Canada right now.
Right,
You know, Canada's got a ban on anybody coming up from the U.S., and then of course it goes the
right,
other way too. But you know, you have to be pretty big shot, you know,
yeah, yeah.
to be able to
Well,
come across.
after this all dies down,
Oh,
we're in Dayton, Ohio, and we have two guest rooms. And
oh, I'd be glad
so,
to take one of those for you.
well, if you were to come down and you had your girlfriend, and you know, if you guys were in an argument, you could have your own room. You know.
Well, they probably won't let her through because she's from England,
Oh,
so that's even worse.
right.
Uh, but before we go, I guess are you still in touch with Kenny? Um,
I haven't talked to Kenny in a while.
yeah, because
Yeah, I
I thought it was kind of an interesting thing when he got into Barney Fife. He did such a great
oh yeah,
job of Barney, didn't he? You know, he was
he,
so funny.
he really
Uh,
did.
yeah, he did some good stuff there. But anyway, yeah, I won't hold you up either. But yeah, there's so many stories and things about Memories Theater that maybe we can do this again another time and go over some more
That'd be awesome.
silliness.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Larry, and
Uh,
hope to see
uh,
you soon.
thank you, Lou. I appreciate you bringing back some great memories for me. I needed that lift. You know, kind of like Dolly Parton, I guess, needed a
Yeah.
lift every once in a while. No, never.
We won't go there.
No.
Okay. God
Okay.
bless you. Thank you again.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.